Okay, good day and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna shift gears a little bit and put the V4 on a weight loss plan. So let's head in and take a look. So I said after the R was done and this bench was clear, I could start tearing down the V4. I ended up pulling the LSWC engine that has been stored down in another shed up here with the other three, along with all the components that we stripped off probably 10 years ago. So this engine was stuck. We took the head off. We got the stuck piston out, but we damaged it pretty good. And that's pretty much where it ended. So I'm gonna have to get pistons and sleeves for this. I am gonna get it all cleaned up and put it back together and get it back in the tractor and eventually get it out of here. So that'll probably, assuming I have heat this year, be a winter project. So that's all the componentry for that. But that does give us some room on the bench that we can put the V4 engine parts. Now you can see I pulled the heads off. There weren't any nuts holding it on. They were loose, so I just slid them off. I wanted to take a look at the pistons, and this is what I found. A gaping hole. So that is obviously not ideal. These cylinders are in pretty bad shape. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to hunt them and use them. They are really rusted, really pitted. At this point, I would almost guarantee we're going to need 2-cylinder jugs to put this thing back together. But we got a ways to go before we can even assess what that looks like. Today I'm going to drain the oil because I don't know if you can see. There we go. There's oil on the dipstick. In fact, there is way too much oil on the dipstick. It's almost double what it should be. And I'm guessing most of it is probably water. So I'm going to pull the drain plug. I've got oil pan all set up to receive. And we'll get it all drained out. I'm going to get this front pulley off. I'm going to get the distributor off. I'm going to get the hydraulic pump off. I might even see if I can find some nuts so that I can start breaking these studs loose and get the studs pulled off, and then we'll get that front inspection plate off. I'm gonna clean this out so that I can get at these nuts, and then I'm gonna soak them really heavy in penetrating oil because I have a feeling those are gonna be terrible to try to take off, and the last thing I want to do is ruin one of those. That'll really slow everything down. And then once those are loose, I have to flip this whole thing over, take the pan off, and then I got to come in through the bottom to get the 3 bolts on the other side of the jugs in order to get those so that they'll come off. So I'll have to get that off. I'll have to loosen the connecting rods and then flip it back over and pull everything out. So that is pretty much where we are at. So I'm gonna get some wrenches and start getting busy on pulling this thing apart. All right, so our drain plug is 1 1/4 inches. I was able to break it loose, so you can see it's already starting to drip, and that definitely looks like water. So we'll get the pan up here and we'll let her buck and see what we got. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I saw what looked like antifreeze. That's not a good sign. Okay, all the muck and the yuck is out of there. I only got about 2 drops on the floor. I guess there's a first time for everything. Okay, now I'm working on taking this hydraulic pump off. 3 9/16 head bolts are what hold it on. The other one is down there. So we'll get those taken out and pull this pump off. Okay, the bolts are out. We'll see if we can get it to come loose. Oh, we might need some encouragement. So it turns out these studs are holding that plate on as well. So I got to pull the other 2 of those out. Alright, I got those 3 out. So that pops right off. And I don't see anything additional that would be holding that on. Yep, there she goes. There's the drive. Okay, so we got that off. Next I'm going to pull this distributor out. Okay, so 2 9/16 nuts and what should have been a stud left in, and then the little bracket that holds the distributor down, it only had one of those. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. Maybe. Oh, there's the other bracket. It's still there. There we go. And there's the distributor and drive. Okay. Now we'll see what we can do about this pulley. Okay, so that 5/16 nut was almost too loose, the bolt. Barely had to give it a turn. Now I can see that splined on. That's going to be fun to try to get off. Let's see what I can do. Okay, I gave it a shot of WD-40 and I've got the puller on it, so we're going to give it a shot here. Oh, there she goes. Sliding right off. Beautiful. I like it when it works the way it's supposed to. There we go. Plenty dirty. But now we can get that inspection plate off. Okay, got all the bolts out. Should have been 16 total. I broke 2 of them. So 2, And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There was one missing, which would have been 15. And this guy was the only 9/16 out of the bunch. Everything else was a half. So I'm thinking they had problems with this guy once before, and they drilled it out and tapped it to be a little bigger. So we're going to see if we can get this inspection plate off. There it goes. I'd like to get this off without ruining it, because I'm going to have to make one. Oh, too late. There's half of one. This isn't going to come off. Okay, so there's our cams and our crank, so that's our timing. Alright, so I imagine this is part of the governor system. It's got 3 set screws that hold this collar on that I've loosened up, and I'm going to work off. There we go. Then this, I would imagine, is the internal portion of the governor. Whoop. Couple spacers. There it comes. Almost. There. Okay. Got some oil grooves in there. This is stamped with an Eaton 1A, even some bolts with the E on the end. These springs, we don't lose them. But yeah, I'm guessing when we get inside, we're going to see where these pins would contact the inner portion of what drives what would be the governor up here for the throttle. Okay, so we got that off. I sprayed all these studs down with penetrating oil. Try breaking some of them loose in a little bit here. And then I also cleaned this up and got these started on their soak. I'm really concerned about trying to get that one off. It's really, really chewed up. It's going to be interesting. I have to probably make this gasket because I'm not going to find one. I very highly doubt that I'm going to find one. And then we got an oil seal in here that's going to have to get replaced. So I'll have to get that out and get some dimensions, assuming that we're still going to be able to move forward with this. So the pulley, the plate, the pump, the distributor, I don't know, maybe 60, 70 pounds between them. That gets a little bit of stress off of the engine dolly. So, final order of business before we wrap this video up. In prior video I talked about how this gentleman that we bought this equipment from seemed to like to pull the data tags off once he was done with them and had put them out to pasture. I bought a box of data tags at that auction, and I dug through it the other day and I found this. It is a model V206-4 with serial number that reads 042-01963. I know you can't make out the 63, but that is what it says. And I matched it up to where this data tag would sit. And it's really difficult to say whether or not it actually came off of this unit. However, if you look at the top here, there is some of the grease that fits the paint lines on the block. So I am fairly confident this is the data tag for this engine. And if it is, then looking at that serial number again, 04201963, indicates that it was manufactured April 20th of 1963. So this is a 1963 engine, which means this energy yellow that's on there is the correct color. And so should this actually prove to be something that I can rebuild, energy yellow will be the color it will be. Alright, so penetrating oil on the studs, they are in there. I tried a little bit with a wrench. I gotta let them soak for a while and see if it makes any difference. It might even require some heat. Before the next video, I'm hoping to have them all pulled so that they're out of the way. And then the next video we can start with these 6 nuts. And then we'll flip it over. We'll get the inspection plate off the bottom. And then we'll see about getting all the connecting rods taken off. Getting those other 6 bolts that are on the inside holding those heads on off so that we can pull these heads off. Free up that crank and get a really good idea of what the inside of this crankcase looks like, whether or not we have a usable crank, what the cam looks like, and that's what's really going to determine whether or not we're going to move forward with this thing or if I'm just going to chuck it in the garbage. We also have to look at the water jacket and make sure that we don't have any damages there. So that will be the next one. When that one will be, I don't know. When I get back from camp and we start into show season, I'm hoping to hit up a bunch of shows, and I'll just have to see what I have for time in between there. But yeah, when I do get a little bit of time, we'll come out, we'll get a little more progress, and we'll potentially take this one into winter. Okay, that's it for the V4 for this time. So I thank you all for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please think about doing it. And I'll see you on the next one. Take your foot off the clutch, everybody. Take care.